everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about 8 basic yoga poses, which are also the poses that are commonly used in what we know as Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutation series in its most ancient form. Now there are of course countless variations on Surya Namaskar which you may know of, but I really wanted us to focus on Surya Namaskar in its most traditional form, which is thousands upon thousands of years old. I really hope that seeing each pose in detail will be helpful, especially to those of you who are newer to yoga, and perhaps to some of you who may be coming back to yoga after a longer break. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. So, our first pose is called Tadasana, or mountain pose. Now, what is really important in this pose is that our feet are fully grounded into the mat or the floor. So to do that, I normally, first of all, lift my toes off the floor, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm grounding each foot on all of the 4 corners down so that the weight is equally distributed across the whole foot. And then I'm going to release my toes down. After that, I'm going to activate my thighs, engage the glutes slightly, tuck my tailbone under again slightly. And here I am in Tadasana, mountain pose. Now this pose has to be full of vitality. It's not a resting pose by any means. So if you think that you can do Tadasana like this, then I invite you to think again, really just all the muscles engaged and ready for the next pose. The next pose is extended Tadasana. Now for extended Tadasana, we're going to lift our arms up and arch the back slightly. So I'll show you on the side. So from Tadasana, I'm going to inhale the arms up, have my hands together, and I'm pushing with the hips further forwards. Now, if this is the very first Tadasana that you do, you don't have to push very far with your hips. Even just being here is perfectly fine. The warmer you get during your practice, the further out you can push your hips. Okay, now from here, our third pose will be Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So we are going to inhale, exhale, and fold forwards. And here we are. Now, some of you might have difficulty reaching the mat or the floor with your hands, and that's absolutely fine. But I invite you to really bend your knees so that your hands can be on the floor. Even if you have to bend really quite a lot, that's okay. And then as you move forwards through the practice, you can start lengthening through the legs very, very gradually, so that eventually you might be able to touch the floor with your legs straight. But if you can't touch the floor, of course you can place your hands onto your thighs or shins, but I do invite you to first of all bend the knees and then straighten out the legs gradually. Alright, so here we are in a standing forward bend. From here we're going to find our next pose, which is a low lunge. Now as you can see, in my low lunge, I'm still touching the floor with my hands. My right knee in this case is on the floor, my toes are tucked under, and I'm going to look up and inhale. Okay, so I'm really stretching through the thighs, the glutes, the spine. It's a great pose. Our next pose will be a plank. So for plank pose, Kumbhakhasana, we're going to have our wrists and shoulders in line, and heels and balls of the feet in line. And my head tends to drop, for instance, quite a lot. We're going to try and keep it straight so that the spine is almost a straight line from the top of your head, or the crown of the head, all the way down to the tailbone. The next pose is what we call 8-point pose or Ashtanga Namaskar. Now, 8-point pose because 8 parts of the body are on the floor. So those 8 parts are 1 and 2 feet, 2 knees, the chest, the chin, and 2 hands. So 8-point pose or Ashtanga Namaskar. Now this pose is really great because it realigns the spine, accentuating its natural curves, as you can see. Okay, the next pose is a Bhujangasana or Cobra pose. Now this Cobra could be a very small one, or it could be a very tall one. Wherever you are, however, I invite you to have your big toes together if you can, and your heels rolled open, so heels rolling out. Now your shoulders, you want to roll them away from your ears. And when you're ready, you can inhale and look up. And this is your Bhujangasana or Cobra pose. Our last pose will be a down dog. Adho, Mukha, Svanasana, downward facing dog. So in this pose, we want to have our hands spread out with middle fingers pointing straight ahead. So the hands are taking the weight equally across each hand. So you're not just resting on one side or another. So hands spread out, the arms and the legs, you want to keep them as straight as you can. But if keeping the legs straight is not an option in the beginning, you're more than welcome to bend your knees. And again, straighten them out as you go during your practice, whether it's during the course of one practice, one class, one lesson, or a few months. So you want the spine to be also straight. Now, the spine includes, in yoga, also the neck. So if your head goes too far down below your chest, or it's doing this, looking at what other people may be doing in your class, then of course your spine will go out of line. So you want to keep your head in between your upper arms, so that the spine, starting from the top of the head, so from the crown of the head, can run in one straight line all the way to the tailbone. And speaking of tailbone, your tailbone is lengthening out and upward towards the sky. Okay, so those are a few things to keep in mind. Last thing, your heels will be lengthening gently towards the mat. Your heels do not have to be fully on the mat, although some people take a small step in so that the heels automatically go much closer to the mat. However, that is not something you need to do unless you want to. You can keep them further out, your feet further out, and you can just work with your breath so that your heels lengthen towards the mat with each exhale. And you could even do, lengthening one leg at a time, particularly if your legs are not quite straight yet. Okay, so those are all the 8 poses you need to know in order to practice Surya Namaskar in its most, like we said, traditional and ancient form. Now let's look at what those poses look like in a full round of a Sun Salutation series. So starting from the top of the mat, in your Tadasana, we're going to engage the thighs, glutes, tailbone slightly tucked under, and ready to inhale, arms out and up, extended Tadasana, exhale, fold forwards, Uttanasana. Inhale, right foot steps back, drop the knee, look up, low lunge, and ready to step back to plank or Kumbhakhasana, and exhale, knees, chest, chin, 8-point pose. Inhale, forwards and up, Bhujangasana, tuck your toes under, exhale, down facing dog, Adho, Mukha, Svanasana. One full breath here, and inhale, right foot steps in between the hands, and by the way, if the foot doesn't get there all the way, just push it through. Left knee down, as you can see, it's another low lunge just on the other side. And we're going to step forwards, inhale, and exhale, fold forwards. Inhale all the way up, back to our extended Tadasana, and exhale, fold forwards, Uttanasana one more time. As you can see, we've started our second half round, so this time the left foot is going to step back, drop knee, and look up, low lunge. From here, we step back into our plank, and exhale, knees, chest, chin, Ashtanga Namaskar. Inhale, forwards and up. Bhujangasana, shoulders away from the ears. Tuck toes under, exhale. Down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. One full breath here. And inhale, left foot this time steps in between the hands. Drop the right knee and look up. And stepping forwards as we inhale and exhale. Inhale, forwards and up, arms out. Extended Tadasana. And exhale, Namaste, hands to heart. Alright, so that was our Sun Salutation or Surya Namaskar series in its most traditional form, which is thousands upon thousands of years old. Feel free to repeat the full round as many times as you like during your daily or weekly yoga practice. And don't forget that even if at the beginning the Sun Salutation series seems somewhat hard, the more you do them, the more flexible and the stronger you will get in your practice. You will see the difference in no time, I promise. Just a little bit of consistency will go a long way. Well, this is it from me for today. I do hope you found this video helpful and useful. If you'd like to stay posted on more yoga content and much more, please subscribe, leave a comment and a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you ever so much for watching this video, and Om Namaste.